Welcome to Hidden Truths, where we pull back the curtain on the systems you live in but rarely question. You're not here by accident. Maybe lately you felt more alone, more disconnected, more invisible. But what if I told you your loneliness isn't a personal failing, it's a business model? In today's video, we dive into a dark reality no one talks about. How modern society is structured to keep us isolated because isolation sells. We'll uncover how corporations profit from your longing for connection, how algorithms manipulate your emotions to keep you scrolling, and how entire industries exist just to sell you the feeling of being seen without ever truly connecting with you. This isn't just a social crisis, it's a system. A quiet machine that turns your loneliness into data, into dollars, into control. And by the end of this video, you won't see your loneliness the same way again. Let's begin. You're not lonely by accident. You're lonely by design. You tell yourself it's just a phase, that everyone grows distant over time, that life gets busy, people drift, priorities shift. You whisper to yourself that it's your fault, that if you were more fun, more confident, more interesting, maybe you'd have more people around. But what if you're not lonely by chance? What if your loneliness is not a glitch in the system, but a feature of it? What if you are alone because someone profits from it? The illusion of blame. We've been taught to see loneliness as a personal shortcoming, as something shameful, embarrassing, weak. You scroll through images of perfect brunches, group vacations, weddings, and believe you're the one who fell behind. You believe it's you, your schedule, your anxiety, your bad luck. But if everyone's feeling the same quiet ache, the same emptiness masked by notifications and online noise, maybe it's not just you. Maybe it's the world that's been reprogrammed. The disconnected majority. Statistically, we are in the most connected era of human existence. You can talk to someone on the other side of the planet instantly. You can join groups, attend live streams, like, react, and share 24/7. And yet, rates of loneliness, anxiety, and depression have skyrocketed in the last 2 decades. Even before the pandemic, surveys showed that 1 in 3 adults in developed nations often or always felt lonely. After 2020, those numbers only got worse. But here's the twist. This didn't happen in the background. It wasn't some unforeseen byproduct of modern life. It was designed. When disconnection becomes design, the more isolated you are, the more vulnerable you become. The more emotionally starved you feel, the more likely you are to chase temporary relief. Streaming, shopping, self-help, scrolling, snacking. Each of these industries, multi-billion-dollar giants, each of them profits from your disconnection. Think about it. If people were deeply connected, surrounded by community, purpose, and real conversations, how much less would they need to consume? But if people feel unseen, unheard, and unloved, how much more will they buy to fill the silence? The machine feeds on your silence. You are not broken. You're just inside a system that was never designed to nourish your soul, only to extract your attention. A society that sells freedom but delivers disconnection. A culture that celebrates individualism while quietly destroying community. A world that makes you feel alone and then sells you a cure for it. And the cruelest part? They made you blame yourself for it. But not anymore. Because once you see that your loneliness has been engineered, you can begin to take it back. This isn't the part where we tell you to just go outside or text a friend. No, this is deeper than that. This is where we peel back the first layer of a system built on silence. And in the next part, we'll show you exactly how they created a world that's always online, but never truly connected. The digital mirage. Connected, but disconnected. They told us the internet would bring us closer, that social media would keep us connected, that smartphones would shrink the distance between hearts, that more platforms meant more friends, more freedom, more belonging. But what they built wasn't connection, it was simulation. A digital mirage, shimmering, endless, seductive. You think you're surrounded by people, voices, community, but try reaching for it and your hand touches nothing. The rise of the social illusion. You post a photo, you get likes. You reply to a story, someone laughs. You share a thought, people react. It feels like interaction, like presence, like being seen. But is it? You can have 5,000 friends online and not one person who knows what you're going through. You can go viral, gain followers, and still feel invisible at 2 a.m. Because digital interaction is not the same as human connection. It doesn't hold you, it doesn't notice your silence, it doesn't ask if you're okay when you disappear. It mimics the surface of connection without offering the depth. From village squares to infinite scrolls. Not long ago, human life revolved around physical spaces. The village square, the dinner table, the neighborhood bar, the park bench. You saw people, you heard their tone, you read their body language. You shared moments, unfiltered, unedited, unscheduled. Then came the feed. Your life shrank from a 360-degree world of presence into a 6-inch screen of curation. Now connection happens in DMs, comment threads, emoji replies, filtered, cropped, time delayed. The result? We're surrounded by echoes, not voices, by avatars, not souls. The platform paradox. Social platforms don't exist to connect you. They exist to monetize your attention. True connection, deep, emotional, honest, requires time, vulnerability, focus. But those things don't generate revenue. What does? Endless engagement, short bursts of dopamine, outrage, envy, FOMO. The platform doesn't want you to feel fulfilled. It wants you to feel almost fulfilled, so you keep coming back. You scroll not because you're connecting, but because you're searching for a connection that never fully arrives. When loneliness hides in plain sight. Here's the trap. You feel disconnected, so you reach for your phone. You scroll through updates, reels, tweets, trying to feel included. For a moment it works. You feel less alone. But the feeling doesn't last. Because what you're consuming is a performance, not a presence. You know everything about someone's highlight reel, but nothing about their real life. And they know nothing about yours. So you scroll more and more until the illusion feels safer than real life, until your loneliness becomes a routine. From connection to consumption. What began as a tool to bring people together has become a marketplace of personas. The more time you spend online, the more ads you see, the more data you give, the more predictable your behavior becomes, the more profitable your sadness gets. Every click is a transaction. Every lonely night is a business opportunity for someone else. And what's worse, they've made this your default world, where attention replaces affection, where scrolling replaces speaking, where content replaces companionship. A generation raised in the mirage. If you're under 40, you were likely raised in this. Your friendships were formed through text, your memories stored in cloud servers, your heartbreaks shared through status updates. You've been conditioned to believe that likes mean you matter, that followers equal friends, that constant availability is the same as intimacy. But deep down, in the quiet moments, you feel it, that this isn't real, that something is missing, that the very tools built to connect us have only made us more alone. Where we go from here. In the next part, we'll look at how this engineered isolation didn't stop at your phone. It crept into your cities, your neighborhoods, your homes. Because disconnection isn't just digital, it's architectural. Let's explore how the physical world was redesigned to make sure your loneliness is not just felt, but lived. The architecture of isolation, how society was reshaped. You don't just feel isolated, you've been built into isolation. It's not just in your phone, it's in your floor plan, your city layout, the invisible design of modern life. Loneliness isn't just emotional, it's spatial. And the way we live today has been reshaped, piece by piece, to keep us apart. This didn't happen overnight. It happened subtly, quietly, as progress, as convenience, as freedom. But what we lost was community. From villages to boxes in the sky. There was a time when people lived in clusters, villages, small towns, close-knit neighborhoods. You knew your neighbors, you borrowed sugar, you shared fences, you waved, you talked. People belonged to a place, to each other. Then came the shift. We moved into high-rise apartments, gated communities, tiny studios with thick walls and silent hallways. You can now live in a building for 5 years and never learn the name of the person next door. We traded shared spaces for private boxes, and somewhere along the way, privacy became a euphemism for isolation. The death of the third place. Sociologists talk about the third place, a space that's not your home, first, and not your work, second, but somewhere in between. The cafe, the local library, the community center, the corner store, the park bench. These were the invisible glue that held people together. Places where conversation happened without an app, where faces became familiar, where you felt less like a stranger in your own city. But these third places are disappearing, replaced by chain stores with rotating staff, by corporate cafes designed for laptops, not laughter, by streets made for cars, not people. Without the third place, we move in straight lines, from home to work and back, alone. Suburban solitude, the isolation behind the fence. Suburbs were sold as the dream, a home of your own, a backyard, a driveway, peace. But in reality, suburbs often become islands. Wide roads, but no sidewalks. Garage doors that open and close without a hello. Homes spread out, neighbors hidden behind hedges. You drive to the store, drive to the gym, drive to school, drive past each other. Community has no chance to form because there's no reason to stay in one place long enough for it to happen. Cities built for profit, not people. Even in cities, design has shifted. Urban planners once prioritized public gathering spaces, but now developers prioritize saleable square footage. Parks are replaced by parking lots. Public squares become shopping malls. Benches are removed to deter loitering. And loitering, that used to be called lingering, talking, laughing, living. But there's no profit in people sitting around for free. So the places where we once paused disappeared. Now you're welcome to stay as long as you're buying something. Living alone, a new norm, a quiet epidemic. For the first time in human history, Living alone is the norm in many developed countries. It's marketed as independence, empowerment, freedom, but it's also unprecedented. We evolved in tribes to cook together, eat together, grieve together, celebrate together, to sit around fires and share stories. Now, we eat in front of screens, talk to walls, and call it progress. But the walls don't talk back, and when the silence stretches too long, we scroll to fill it. The cost of convenience. Food delivery, grocery apps, streaming movies, remote everything. Yes, it's convenient, but it's also confining. You don't have to see anyone anymore, not even to survive. You can live, eat, work, and connect from one room. For weeks, for months. And that's not an accident. That's a market opportunity. Every step you don't take in the real world is one more ad you're exposed to online. Isolation equals more screen time. More screen time equals more revenue. So why design a walkable world when a scrollable one is more profitable? Loneliness by layout. They don't have to tell you to be alone. They just have to remove the structures that once made connection inevitable. And they did. Slowly, intentionally. They dismantled the town square, privatized the gathering spaces, redesigned homes, streets, cities, to make loneliness the path of least resistance. You didn't choose this world. It was built around you. The hidden blueprint. When you step back and look at the physical world around you, you realize something chilling. This isn't just bad design. It's brilliant design for a system that profits from your disconnection. A lonely person doesn't riot. They consume. They conform. They obey, which is exactly what this world rewards. But this design only works as long as you don't see it. Now that you do, you can begin to question everything. And in the next part, we'll explore how even your work, yes, your job, has been reshaped to make real connection almost impossible. Let's talk about how remote work became a silent driver of loneliness and how the freedom we were promised might be the most isolating shift of all. Remote work and the death of the water cooler. At first, it felt like freedom. No traffic, no awkward small talk, no office dress code, no more pretending to be busy when your manager walked by. Remote work was framed as the future. Liberating, empowering, and efficient. And for a while, it was. But then something shifted. The days blurred, the walls closed in, and the silence got heavier. The same freedom that let you work from anywhere quietly removed the everywhere you used to belong. The disappearance of micro-connection. In the traditional office, not everything was productive, but some of it was human. The chat by the elevator, the venting in the break room, the laugh over coffee, the shared frustration after a bad meeting, the look someone gave you that said, "Me too." These small, forgettable moments were never on your calendar, but they stitched you into something larger than yourself. They reminded you, you're not alone. You're part of a team. You're seen. Remote work stripped those threads one by one. Now, your colleagues are icons. Your conversations, scheduled. Your presence, optional. The space where relationships once grew became a void filled with deadlines. Productivity over presence. Remote work optimized for efficiency, and in doing so, it quietly deprioritized presence. You're measured by output, not connection. Meetings became status updates. Messages became bullet points. Time became fragmented, spread thin across Slack, Zoom, Asana, email. You're available all the time, but never truly together. You exist as a cursor blinking on someone else's screen, a bubble in a sea of notifications, a digital ghost. And slowly, your identity dissolves into tasks. You become your to-do list. Isolation in the name of autonomy. They said you could now work in your pajamas, that you could set your own hours, that you could live anywhere. But they didn't tell you that anywhere often turns into nowhere. That flexibility comes with the cost of fading relationships. That work-life balance often means both bleed into each other. And without casual check-ins and daily face-to-face interactions, loneliness seeps in slowly, silently, permanently. We traded a commute for a cocoon, and now we wonder why we feel so cut off from the world. The monetization of disconnection. Here's the hidden truth. Remote work isn't just a lifestyle change. It's a cost-saving model. No office leases, no electricity bills, no snacks, no team events, no overhead. You become your own infrastructure. Your home becomes your cubicle. Your loneliness becomes a non-issue because no one sees it. And in your isolation, something else happens. You're more likely to buy online courses to upskill, more likely to order takeout, more likely to subscribe to wellness apps, more likely to consume. The disconnected worker is the perfect consumer, always online, always reachable, always alone. When work replaces community. For decades, work was more than just a paycheck. It was how we met people, how we felt useful, how we stayed socially active. Now, it's a screen, a KPI, a recurring calendar invite. No birthday cakes, no inside jokes, no office parties, no "how was your weekend?" Just silence. And then, a deliverable. Burnout without witnesses. One of the cruelest parts of remote work is how invisible your suffering becomes. In the office, someone might notice the bags under your eyes, might ask if you're okay, might offer help or just a moment of kindness. Online, there's no glance, no tone, no presence. You can fall apart and no one will know, except maybe your manager when your metrics slip. This isn't just bad for mental health, it's dangerous. Because humans weren't meant to struggle in silence. We weren't built to grind in digital isolation. But the system doesn't mind. It's not designed to care. It's designed to produce. What we lost at the water cooler. The water cooler was more than just a cliché. It was a metaphor for unstructured humanity, the little rituals that made work bearable, that made life bearable. Now, you drink water alone. You vent to your pet. You mute your mic, turn off your camera, and slowly disappear. And the saddest part? You might think this is normal, that you are the problem, that you just need to adjust. But you're not broken. You're just operating inside a system that intentionally removed the human parts of work. A lonelier future in the name of progress. Remote work won't go away, and it shouldn't. It has benefits. But if we ignore the emotional erosion happening beneath it, we'll wake up in a world of floating workers, cut off from each other, disconnected from meaning, performing for machines, instead of belonging to communities. And that's exactly what certain industries want. Because lonely workers are quiet, and quiet workers are profitable. But once you see it, really see it, you can start to ask, what are we trading for convenience? And who's counting the cost? Family fragmentation, the collapse of emotional infrastructure. If society is the house, then family is the foundation. And when the foundation crumbles, everything above it begins to shake. For generations, family was the default system of emotional support. It didn't always work perfectly, but it was there. A place to return to, a place to be witnessed, a place where love wasn't earned, but given. Today, that system is eroding, quietly, systematically, profitably. And in its place, a marketplace of paid connections. The vanishing home base. More people today live far from their families than ever before. Globalization, jobs, education, and modern mobility have scattered families across continents. What used to be multi-generational homes are now solitary apartments. At first, it seems like independence, but it's also vulnerability. No one to greet you when you get home. No one to see your bad days. No one to notice the shift in your voice. You begin to believe your emotions don't matter because no one is close enough to witness them. And when that belief sets in, you start searching for emotional substitutes. Divorce and the rise of emotional markets. Divorce rates have soared in the last few decades. Single-parent households are no longer the exception. Marriage is being delayed or abandoned altogether. Again, it's sold as freedom, and sometimes it is. But collectively, this trend has dismantled something deeper, a sense of emotional continuity. When families fall apart, so do the rituals, the Sunday dinners, the check-in calls, the shared birthdays, the quiet moments that say, "You're not alone." Into this vacuum, industries step in. Therapists, life coaches, online support groups, parenting blogs, dating apps, subscription therapy platforms. What used to be done through relationship is now done through transaction. The child as consumer, not heir. Even childhood has been restructured. Kids today spend more time with screens than with family. Parents working longer hours or divorced substitute presence with devices. Algorithms become babysitters. Apps replace storytelling. YouTube replaces lullabies. And the child grows up fluent in content, but foreign to connection. They don't inherit values. They inherit brand preferences. They aren't raised by a village. They're raised by a marketplace. And by the time they reach adulthood, they're already emotionally primed to consume comfort, not seek community. Lonely elders, profitable endings. As the young drift away, the old are left behind. Elderly parents, once surrounded by children and grandchildren, now live alone, or in facilities where companionship is outsourced. Touch becomes rare. Conversation becomes clinical. And an entire industry thrives. Nursing homes, home care apps, senior companionship services, paid friends for rent, even AI pets and robotic caregivers. What used to be handled by love is now handled by invoice. And this is profitable, because a lonely elder is not only a vulnerable human, they're a recurring customer. Emotion has become a product. You miss being hugged? There's a paid cuddle service for that. You need someone to listen? Book a therapist by the hour, or an AI chatbot, or a self-help podcast. You want to feel understood? Join a $59 per month online community of strangers. In this new world, emotions aren't shared, they're sold. And the deeper your loneliness, the deeper the market can reach into your wallet. The death of family equals the birth of the emotional economy. Here's the hard truth. The collapse of family is not just a tragedy, it's a business opportunity. Because when people lose their support systems, they don't stop needing support. They just start paying for it. Every broken bond becomes a new revenue stream, and no one profits more than the industries that tell you, it's okay, you don't need family, you have us. But what they don't tell you, they don't love you, they don't hold you when you cry, they don't attend your funeral. They provide a simulation of intimacy, just long enough to keep you subscribing. You're not meant to do this alone. If your family fell apart, this is not your fault. You didn't fail. You're living inside a system that quietly made family inconvenient, that sold individualism and made collective care feel weak, that replaced love with likes, connection with content, belonging with branding. But here's the radical truth. You don't have to play along. You can rebuild something real. It starts with awareness, with presence, with daring to reach out again. Coming up next. In the next part, we expose the industries that not only benefit from your loneliness, but depend on it. From dating apps to therapy platforms, from comfort foods to subscription groups, we'll show you just how much money is made every time you feel like no one understands you, and why that pain is not just personal, it's profitable. The business of loneliness. Who profits from your pain? Loneliness is a feeling, but in today's world, it's also a commodity. And behind every quiet ache in your chest, there's a corporation with a product ready to sell. You were told loneliness is something to fix, but for the right industries, it's something to exploit. Because when you're lonely, you don't just feel empty, you start searching for meaning, for connection, for anything that fills the void. And that's when the marketplace begins to whisper, we can help for a price. Loneliness is profitable by design. Think about the most vulnerable moment in your day. The late night when the house is quiet, your phone is glowing, and your thoughts grow louder than you'd like. You reach for your device, not because you're curious, but because you're hurting. And that's when the monetization begins. Every click, every swipe, every craving, it all becomes part of a multi-billion-dollar industry built on your emotional hunger. 1. Dating apps, selling the illusion of love. They market themselves as tools for connection. Swipe right, find your match, true love at your fingertips. But here's the truth. Dating apps are not designed for you to find love. They're designed for you to chase it endlessly. Because the longer you stay single and scrolling, the more you engage, the more you pay for boosts, likes, super swipes, premium features. Every failed date is a win for them. Your loneliness is not a problem, it's a revenue stream. You think you're looking for someone, but what you're really doing is fueling a machine that thrives on your unmet needs. 2. Therapy platforms and the monetization of healing. Mental health is vital. Therapy can save lives. But even healing has been turned into a subscription model. Online platforms offer 24/7 chat therapy, AI-driven emotional analysis, and packages based on how often you feel sad. Your emotional pain is sliced into tiers, plans, upgrades. What used to be sacred, the bond between two humans sharing truth, has become a customer journey. And as long as you don't get better too quickly, you'll remain a returning user. 3. Comfort food, alcohol, and the business of numbing. You feel hollow, so you eat. You feel anxious, so you drink. You feel disconnected, so you binge. And corporations know this. That's why comfort food ads spike late at night. Why alcohol marketing is wrapped in friendship and fun. Why sugary snacks are called treats, even when they hurt you. When your soul is starving, they offer calories, not care. And your pain? It's just part of the profit margin. 4. Algorithmic entertainment, the infinite scroll of loneliness. Streaming platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, they promise escape, laughter, connection. But their real currency is your attention, and your loneliness is their opportunity. The more you feel alone, the longer you scroll. The longer you scroll, the more ads you see. The more ads you see, the more valuable you become. So they don't want to fix your loneliness. They want to optimize it, to keep you isolated enough to need them, but entertained enough not to notice. You're not the customer, you're the product. 5. Subscription communities, belonging with a monthly fee. Humans crave belonging. We want to feel seen, heard, part of something. So today, you can pay for it. Join an exclusive Discord, a members-only Facebook group, a healing tribe with a $99 a month access pass. They offer community, but what they sell is identity. And as long as you're still searching for who you are, they'll keep offering you branded versions of belonging. You're not building a village, you're building a dependency. 6. Self-help gurus, hope as a funnel. There's a new breed of influencer, the savior, the healer, the mindset coach. They speak directly to your emptiness, to your pain, to your yearning for more. But behind the inspiration, there's a funnel, a course, a retreat, a 7-step program with limited time pricing. They don't want you to heal. They want you to almost heal, just enough to believe in the next product. Your loneliness becomes a lifetime customer value. The economic engine of disconnection. Let's be clear, not all therapy is bad. Not all communities are fake. Not all comfort is toxic. But when your emotional pain becomes someone else's growth strategy, something sacred is being stolen. You are no longer a person in need. You're a market segment, a data point, a predictable impulse to be converted into sales. And the most dangerous part, this system makes you blame yourself for being alone. So you never look up and realize the world was built to keep you this way. Loneliness is not an accident, it's an industry. When you start to see the system, you stop blaming your heart for feeling hollow. You stop calling your sadness weakness. You stop treating your disconnection as failure, and you start seeing it for what it is: a designed dependency, a silent economy, a machine that feeds on your need to be loved. But awareness is the first act of rebellion, because when you see how deeply loneliness is monetized, you begin to ask, what happens if I stop feeding the machine? What happens if I look for real connection, not digital sedation?
Algorithmic addiction, designed to keep you clicking. You don't scroll because you're bored. You scroll because something inside you is restless, unfulfilled, unseen. And the machine knows it. In fact, it was built for it. Every time you feel lonely, anxious, insecure, or numb, you reach for your phone, not out of conscious choice, but because your brain has been trained, click by click, like by like, to seek comfort in the only place that always responds. But here's the hidden truth. That screen isn't neutral. It's engineered, not to connect you, but to hook you. The algorithm is not a tool. It's a mirror with a motive. When you open your favorite app, you're not browsing, you're being targeted. An invisible system tracks your pauses, your likes, your replays, even how long your eyes linger on a post. And what does it feed you in return? More of the same. More of what keeps you emotionally activated. Not peaceful, not connected, just engaged. Because the algorithm doesn't want you to feel fulfilled. It wants you to feel almost fulfilled. Just enough to keep you scrolling. Just enough to keep your loneliness alive. Why loneliness is a perfect algorithmic trigger. Loneliness is not just an emotion. It's predictable behavior. When you're lonely, you're more likely to watch longer videos, engage with emotional content, seek validation through likes and comments, fall into endless content loops, buy things that promise belonging, healing, or escape. The system recognizes that pattern. It learns your solitude, and then it optimizes around it. It doesn't offer connection. It offers dopamine. Fast, shallow, addictive. And each time you chase it, you slip a little deeper into a feedback loop where your attention feeds your isolation, and your isolation feeds their profits. The infinite scroll was never meant to end. Have you ever asked yourself, why is there no end to the feed? Because finality gives you closure, and closure stops consumption. The infinite scroll isn't just clever design, it's a psychological trap. It mimics the randomness of real social life, but without the depth. Like pulling a lever on a slot machine, you keep hoping the next swipe, the next video, will make you feel something. Sometimes it does. A laugh, a cry, a moment of empathy. But then it disappears, and you're left chasing it again. The algorithm doesn't give you what you need. It gives you just enough of what you crave to stay hooked. You are the product, not the user. Let's be brutally honest. You don't use these platforms. They use you. You're not a customer. You're the product being sold to advertisers. Your time is their revenue. Your pain is their data. Your attention is their asset. And the longer they can keep you lonely, the more predictable your behavior becomes. Loneliness makes you scroll more. Scrolling makes you buy more. Buying keeps the machine alive. It's not accidental. It's systemic. The psychological slot machine. The algorithm is not neutral code. It's a behavioral weapon trained on your psychology. It understands your fear of missing out, your desire to be seen, your longing to feel loved, your need to escape discomfort. It uses every microsignal to keep you chasing what it will never fully deliver. It's not designed for closure. It's designed for compulsion. And the longer you feel lonely, the more you'll return to the machine. Trained like lab rats. In behavioral psychology, there's a concept called intermittent reinforcement. If a reward comes every time you act, you may lose interest. But if the reward comes sometimes and unpredictably, you become obsessed. Social media, entertainment platforms, even dating apps all use this mechanism. You don't get a like every time. Not every post goes viral. Not every comment gets noticed. But sometimes it does. And that maybe keeps you coming back. Just like a rat in a lab, pressing the lever, hoping for food. Except in this case, you're pressing for connection. And most of the time, you get nothing. So you press again and again, until the habit becomes you. Loneliness is not cured by algorithms, it's sustained by them. Here's the deepest irony. The platforms that promise to connect the world have created a world where we're more disconnected than ever, where silence feels unbearable, where stillness feels threatening, where solitude isn't rest, it's withdrawal. And in this carefully engineered chaos, you forget what real connection even feels like. You mistake notifications for love, engagement for friendship, followers for family. But the moment you unplug, you feel it. The void they never filled, the ache that never left, the truth you've avoided. This machine was never here to love you. It was here to study you, to sell you, to keep you lonely just long enough to keep you scrolling. Coming up next. In the next part, we expose the new opium of the masses, how entertainment has evolved from art and joy into an addictive escape that numbs your loneliness just enough to keep it from exploding. We'll go deeper into how you've been trained to escape your life instead of rebuilding it. Because if loneliness can't be monetized by connection, they'll sell you distraction endlessly. Let's begin. Entertainment as escape, the new digital opium. When connection fails to comfort you, distraction steps in. It doesn't ask questions. It doesn't judge. It doesn't require vulnerability. It just offers you a way out of your thoughts, out of your pain, out of the unbearable stillness of being alone. And in the modern world, entertainment has become the most seductive escape of all. But make no mistake, you're not being entertained, you're being numbed. Because loneliness that explodes is dangerous, but loneliness that's constantly managed, quietly, conveniently, endlessly, is profitable. From storytelling to sedation. Once upon a time, stories were shared around fires. They connected generations. They taught lessons. They created identity. Entertainment was about meaning. But today, it's about management. Specifically, managing your boredom, your sadness, your aloneness. We no longer turn to stories to understand life. We turn to content to avoid it. We binge, we scroll, we autoplay the next episode. We live inside 15-second loops of simulated excitement, and we call it relaxation. But it's not rest, it's escape. The comfort cage. Netflix asks, "Are you still watching?" But what it really means is, are you still here? Still alone? Still needing us? You are. Because watching keeps the silence away. Because noise feels safer than self-reflection. Because if you stop, you might have to feel. Entertainment becomes your companion, a predictable friend, always available, never demanding. But it doesn't see you, doesn't love you, doesn't care. It simply offers the illusion of not being alone, so you stop looking for the real thing. The algorithm has no ending. Every modern platform is built on one core idea. Never let the viewer leave in silence. Autoplay. Infinite recommendations. Because you liked. Just one more. Top 10 for you. It feels curated.
but it's calculated. Each piece of content is another dose, not to lift you out of your loneliness, but to smooth it out, to soften the sharp edge of your emptiness, just enough to keep you quiet. Because a person who still hurts deeply might act, might reach out, might scream, might change. But a person who's numbed, they stay still. They stay consuming. They stay trapped. You think you're choosing to watch. You're choosing not to feel. Have you noticed how easy it is to start something, but how hard it is to stop? You promise yourself just one episode, just one video, just 10 minutes. Suddenly, it's midnight. You haven't spoken to anyone, and the ache in your chest is heavier, not lighter, because entertainment didn't cure your loneliness. It just postponed it. And like any addiction, you come back tomorrow more tired, more numb, more dependent. The price of passive living. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a good movie, or laughing at a clever video, or escaping once in a while. The danger is when escape becomes your lifestyle, when your life becomes something you distract yourself from, when real experiences are replaced by observing others live theirs, when your day is structured around what's on instead of who you're with. This isn't just about media. It's about how you relate to your own existence. And a society that keeps you passively consuming is a society that doesn't have to fear you. You won't rebel. You won't resist. You'll just hit play. Again and again and again. Loneliness isn't loud anymore. It's streamed in HD. Today's loneliness doesn't look like someone sitting in the dark crying. It looks like someone with headphones in, laughing at videos alone in their room. It looks like 7 hours of back-to-back Netflix. It looks like endless scrolling while lying in bed. It looks normal, acceptable, culturally celebrated. But inside, it's a quiet implosion. A silent yearning to feel something real, to matter to someone, to belong again. But the system whispers, why feel when you can watch? Why engage when you can consume? Why risk connection when comfort is one click away? And just like that, you surrender your pain and your power. The new digital opium. Karl Marx once said, religion is the opium of the people. In today's world, entertainment is the new drug, always available, socially accepted, endlessly addictive. But here's the twist. This drug doesn't kill your pain. It keeps it alive just beneath the surface, so you never leave, never ask deeper questions, never reconnect with the parts of you that still ache. It doesn't want you healed. It wants you manageable. And for a world built on keeping you quietly alone, there is no better tool than endless, numbing content. What they don't want you to remember. Silence is not your enemy. Boredom is not failure. Aloneness is not a problem to fix. These moments were once sacred, spaces where truth emerged, where creativity sparked, where self-awareness grew, where healing began. But now, you're trained to panic when there's nothing on the screen. Because in that stillness, you might remember what real life feels like, what real connection requires, what real purpose demands. And the system can't afford that. So it keeps you comfortable, distracted, dull, until your life becomes a playlist and your soul forgets it ever had a voice. Coming up next, in the next part, we'll go even deeper into your psychology. We'll reveal how you've been conditioned to consume as a way of soothing your loneliness,
and how industries use your isolation to turn you into the perfect customer. Not for connection, but for control. This is no longer about content. It's about who you become when connection is gone. The psychology of the isolated consumer. Loneliness doesn't just shape how you feel, it shapes how you buy, how you scroll, how you eat, how you sleep, how you make decisions, and how the system makes decisions for you. Because here's what they've learned. A lonely human is the perfect consumer. Why? Because when you don't feel seen, you spend to feel visible. When you don't feel loved, you buy things that say you're worth it. When you don't feel connected, you reach for whatever gives even a moment of comfort. Loneliness doesn't just make you vulnerable emotionally, it makes you predictable behaviorally. And in today's data-driven world, predictability equals profit. Emotional spending, buying to fill a void. Walk into any store. Look at the language on the packaging. Treat yourself because you deserve it. Comfort in every bite. Feel good fast. They're not selling products, they're selling emotional anesthesia. Because when you feel empty, you're more likely to reach for something that promises fullness, not in the stomach, but in the soul. Retail therapy is real, and marketers know exactly how to trigger it. Sadness equals purchases. Insecurity equals upgrades. Loneliness equals subscriptions. You're not irrational. You're human, but you're being played. The vulnerability equation. Here's what the data shows. Lonely people are more susceptible to impulse buying. They're more likely to chase status through visible goods. They're more responsive to emotional advertising. They're less likely to delay gratification. They're more loyal to brands that speak to them. So the system doesn't want you to be emotionally stable. It wants you to stay slightly off balance, unsure, alone, longing. Because in that state, you're easier to influence, and influence is everything. Why loneliness breeds overconsumption? When you feel connected, you don't need to fill the silence. You don't need constant entertainment. You don't need to treat yourself to feel alive. But when you're isolated, you look for ways to signal your worth, even if only to yourself. So you buy the luxury candle, the fifth pair of shoes, the skincare bundle that promises confidence, the course that promises transformation, the product that says you matter. But it's never enough. Because what you're missing isn't a product, it's presence. A hug, a laugh, a real, "How are you?" Not a push notification. And no corporation can sell you that. Not really, but they'll pretend to. The rise of identity shopping. Today, you don't just buy products, you buy versions of yourself. The fitness gear that says you're disciplined, the book that says you're deep, the journal that says you're healing, the outfit that says you belong, the app that says you're improving. But the lonelier you are, the more fragmented your identity feels. The more fragmented you feel, the more you shop, not for things, but for a sense of self. You're not buying to survive, you're buying to become. And corporations are happy to keep selling you pieces of a person you already are. The isolation loop. This is how the trap works. You feel disconnected. You seek comfort through consumption. That comfort is temporary. The emptiness returns, stronger. You blame yourself for being broken. You buy again to soothe the shame. You become more financially, emotionally, and socially isolated. Repeat. Each loop leaves you more exhausted, but more compliant, more numb, but more profitable. They don't need you happy, they need you coping, because a person who is healing stops buying so much. Behavioral surveillance, when loneliness becomes data. The most dangerous part? Your loneliness doesn't stay private. It becomes data. Your late-night browsing, your abandoned carts, your search history after a breakup, your Instagram likes after a lonely weekend, your playlists, your purchases, your pauses. All of it feeds machine learning models that predict not just what you'll buy, but who you are when you're hurting. They know your triggers. They know your patterns. They know what kind of ad to show you when your guard is down. And because you're isolated, there's no one there to tell you, wait, you don't need that. You just need a friend. You just need rest. You just need to talk. But there's no friend in the room, just the algorithm, and it's always listening. Healing is bad for business. If you stopped buying every time you felt lonely, if you reached out to a real human instead of reaching for your wallet, if you found fulfillment in community, service, and purpose, the system would collapse. Because this economy doesn't thrive on wholeness, it thrives on hunger. A hunger that must remain just slightly unsatisfied, a need that must always be almost filled, a customer who must always be healing, but never fully healed. You are not a broken consumer. You are a disconnected human. You are not overspending because you're weak. You are spending because you're human in a system that knows exactly how to manipulate you. You were wired for connection, for tribe, for meaning. And in the absence of those things, you reached for what was available: products, subscriptions, solutions. But the real solution is to see the system, to remember you're not meant to buy your way to belonging. You were meant to belong before you ever bought a thing. Coming up next. In the next part, we explore how even healing itself has become a revenue model. When self-help becomes self-loop. When recovery is just another subscription. When they keep you on the edge of breakthrough, so you never actually break free. Let's talk about the business of hope and the monetization of your longing to be okay. Let's talk about self-help or self-loop, when healing becomes a market.
Self-help or self-loop, when healing becomes a market. You just want to feel okay, to stop hurting, to feel whole again, to rebuild what the world chipped away. So you turn to self-help, to healing, to growth. You buy the book, you sign up for the course, you follow the motivational speaker, you repeat the affirmations, you do the journaling, you visualize success, you invest in becoming the best version of yourself. But slowly, quietly, something happens. The pain doesn't go away, not completely, not for long, just enough for you to believe you're making progress, just enough for you to buy the next thing. And you don't realize it yet, but you're not on a healing journey. You're in a healing loop. And someone else is making a lot of money off your endless desire to be whole. Hope is the hook. Self-help was supposed to be about empowerment, but now it's an industry worth over $50 billion a year. And in every corner of it, one thing is sold more than anything else: hope. Not certainty, not healing, not lasting transformation. Just enough hope to make you believe that maybe the next video, the next retreat, the next program, the next mindset hack will finally fix you. But it never does. Not fully, because closure doesn't sell. Continuity does. The 7-step lie. Have you noticed how often it's 7 steps, or 3 secrets, or 10 habits. It's not because human transformation fits perfectly into bullet points. It's because packages sell. The moment healing became a framework, it became a product. And when your pain is formatted into digestible content, your healing becomes performative. You're not becoming better. You're acting like you're getting better. And you're being told that as long as you keep trying, you're doing great, even if deep down you still feel hollow. Progress that never ends. In this system, progress becomes the addiction. You always need to be working on yourself, always optimizing, always leveling up, because if you stop, you fear you'll fall behind, lose your edge, fail at life. So you keep consuming more books, more workshops, more podcasts, more journals, more coaching sessions. But you're not healing. You're just looping. The loop gives you motion, but not direction. You feel like you're growing, but mostly you're spending and performing. The wellness industry doesn't want you well. The irony is cruel. If self-help actually worked too well, you'd stop needing it. You'd stop buying, you'd stop clicking, you'd stop feeding the content machine. So instead, it keeps you in a place of almost confident, almost fulfilled, almost healed. Just enough to keep going, but never enough to stop. And just like that, your pain becomes a business model, and your growth becomes a subscription. From insight to insecurity, there's another layer, a darker one. The more you consume self-help content, the more you start to believe you're broken, that everyone else is succeeding, that you're the only one who still feels stuck. And so the very thing meant to lift you starts to shame you. You begin to fear stillness. You begin to judge yourself for being tired. You begin to think that slowing down equals falling behind. You stop being human and start being a project, an endless task list of be better. But healing doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like rest, like boundaries, like silence. Things the industry can't monetize, so they don't promote. The new religion of self-optimization. Self-help used to be a tool. Now it's a faith system. It has its own gurus, rituals, language, community, doctrine. And just like any belief system, it can either free you or trap you. And the modern version often traps you in yourself, in your insecurities, in your endless "why am I like this?" in the illusion that you can always be fixed if you just try harder. But healing doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like rest, like boundaries, like silence. Things the industry can't monetize, so they don't promote. Healing was never meant to be a business. You are not a product. You are not a conversion rate. You are not a testimonial waiting to happen. You are a person longing to feel whole again and being exploited by systems that have no intention of letting you fully get there. Because your pain pays, and your peace puts them out of business. So what now? You stop chasing. You pause. You question. You ask, am I really healing or just consuming the idea of healing? You let go of the performance. You reach for real connection, not with experts on a screen, but with people, with self, with silence, with stillness. The places where real healing grows. And when you reclaim that space, the industry loses power. Because now, you're not a follower, you're free. Coming up next,
In the next part, we dive into the most seductive and damaging belief of all, that you have to do everything alone. We'll expose how the myth of hyper-independence was sold to you as strength, but actually served to keep you isolated, obedient, and consuming. Let's talk about the manufactured myth of individualism. The manufactured myth of individualism. From a young age, you were told a story that the strongest people stand alone, that success is personal, that needing others is weakness, that independence is the highest form of power. You heard it in movies, you read it in books, you saw it in advertising. The lone wolf, the self-made man, the I don't need anyone woman. It was sold to you as confidence, but in truth, it was isolation dressed up as strength. And once you believed it, they didn't need to keep you alone. You'd keep yourself that way. The lie you were raised to believe. Individualism sounds noble. It promises freedom, autonomy, control. But what it quietly removes is belonging. You become your own support system, your own emotional safety net, your own validator, healer, cheerleader, provider, protector. And at first, it feels empowering. You don't owe anyone. You don't rely on anyone. You carry yourself. But then come the hard days, the quiet nights, the breakdowns no one sees, the victories no one celebrates. And that's when the truth sets in. You were never meant to do this alone. The loneliness hidden in self-sufficiency. Hyper-independence is a trauma response, but it's been marketed as a lifestyle. You don't need anyone. Be your own everything. Grind alone, shine alone. What they don't show you is the cost, the emotional weight, the chronic exhaustion, the quiet desperation to be held without knowing how to ask. Because you've trained yourself to believe that asking equals failing, that needing equals weakness. So instead of reaching out, you retreat further inward, and the world applauds you for it, while you silently unravel. Why systems love independent people. A self-contained person is easy to control. They don't organize, they don't protest, they don't form strong bonds that threaten the structure. They're too busy working on themselves to notice how broken the system is. That's the brilliance of the myth. Once everyone believes they're on their own, there's no one left to question why we're all suffering in silence. Because isolation isn't just emotional, it's political, economic, systemic. The more you believe that everything is your responsibility, the less likely you are to notice the weight wasn't meant to be carried alone. Capitalism's favorite character, the lone hustler. Modern culture worships the self-made hero, the startup founder, the solo entrepreneur, the hyper-productive remote worker, the overnight success story. But behind almost all of them was community, mentors, support, capital, infrastructure, things that rarely get shown in the highlight reel, because radical individualism sells better. If you believe success is purely personal, then failure must be too. You won't blame the system, you'll blame yourself. And when you blame yourself, you buy more. Self-help, motivational books, productivity tools, courses, retreats, coaches. You become your own lifelong project and their lifelong customer. The theft of interdependence. We weren't built to be independent. We were built to be interdependent, to lean on each other, to help and be helped, to teach and be taught, to hold and be held.
But that kind of society doesn't benefit the market, because strong communities don't need as much. They share, they support, they solve together, which means fewer sales, less consumption, more resilience. So instead, you're sold self-reliance, not because it's noble, but because it's profitable. The quiet grief of going it alone. No one talks about it, but you feel it. The heaviness of making every decision yourself. The ache of victories that no one claps for. The emptiness of being strong for too long. You don't cry, not because you don't want to, but because no one's there to see it. So what's the point? This isn't empowerment. This is emotional starvation dressed as pride. And the longer you live in it, the more you become disconnected from the very thing that makes healing possible: other people. You were never meant to be self-sufficient. Strength is not the absence of need. Courage is not never asking for help. Healing is not doing it alone. You are human, and being human means needing, not constantly fixing, not endlessly grinding, not suffering in silence. It means connection. It means trust. It means letting someone see you before you've fixed everything. And that's not weakness. That's what keeps you alive. Coming up next. In the next part, we'll show how this enforced isolation isn't just convenient, it's strategic. We'll reveal how a disconnected society is easier to control, monitor, manipulate, and how your loneliness isn't just an emotion, it's a tool of control. Let's talk about loneliness as social control, the hidden utility of disconnection. Loneliness as social control, the hidden utility of disconnection. You've been told loneliness is a personal crisis, a side effect, an unfortunate byproduct of modern life. But what if it's more than that? What if loneliness isn't just tolerated by society, but strategically preserved? Not to make you suffer, but to make you easier to manage. Because a disconnected population is not just sad, it's harmless. It doesn't organize, it doesn't rise, it doesn't resist. It scrolls, it buys, it obeys. And that's not dysfunction, that's design. Divide and be silent. Throughout history, oppressive systems have always known one thing: connection is dangerous. When people talk, they share truth. When people gather, they share pain. When people bond, they build power. But when people are isolated, when they mistrust each other, when they believe no one understands them, when they internalize the myth that everyone's just looking out for themselves, they become fragmented. And fragmented people don't rebel. They comply. The power of the disconnected citizen. A disconnected person works longer hours without complaint, accepts injustice as personal failure, scrolls endlessly for meaning, blames themselves for burnout, avoids organizing or speaking out, feels shame instead of solidarity. Sound familiar? This is the modern worker, the modern voter, the modern consumer. Tired, alone, distracted, doubtful. And from a systems point of view, ideal. Why real community is threatening. Real connection leads to real questions. You start to wonder, why am I the only one exhausted? Why do we all feel anxious, broke, unseen? Why is no one talking about this? But you're not the only one. You've just been trained to believe you are. Because when people begin to realize their suffering is shared, they start to seek change. And change threatens power. So instead, you're fed a lie. That everyone else is doing fine. That it's just you. That if you work harder, try harder, think more positively, you'll feel better. You won't. Because the root isn't inside you, it's around you. And it's designed to isolate you. Loneliness makes you more governable. This part is uncomfortable, but stay with me. Lonely people are less likely to protest, less likely to vote, less likely to unionize, less likely to defend others, less likely to believe they can change anything. Why? Because they've been emotionally severed from the idea that collective action matters. It's not just that they don't know how to fight, it's that they don't believe there's anyone worth fighting with. And so the system maintains its shape, not through violence, but through emotional detachment. Control doesn't always look like chains. You're not locked in a cell. You're free to walk, shop, stream, scroll. But ask yourself, when was the last time you felt truly seen? When was the last time you shared pain in real life, not just online? When was the last time you felt part of something larger than yourself? Control today doesn't always come with barbed wire and guards. It comes with isolation disguised as freedom. You're alone, but you're not locked up. You're scrolling, but you're not connecting. You're working, but you're not rising. This is the quiet control of modern society. No orders, no guns, just loneliness and silence. The economics of powerlessness. When you're isolated, you consume more, you question less, you self-blame more, you organize less, you accept more, which means you become the perfect subject for capitalism and the quietest citizen for politics. You're exhausted, so you don't resist. You're confused, so you don't unite. You're ashamed, so you don't speak. You're scrolling, so you don't build. This is not an accident. It's not a failure of design. It is the design. Why they keep you isolated? Because connection leads to courage. Courage leads to conversation. Conversation leads to coordination. Coordination leads to change. And change is bad for the ones in power, the ones profiting off your fatigue, off your disconnection, off your quiet surrender. So they sell you false connections, notifications, likes, branded communities, surface-level wellness. They give you just enough of what you need to not collapse, but never enough to truly rise. The system isn't broken. It's working against you. If your loneliness feels systematic, it's because it is. You weren't meant to be this tired, this disconnected, this emotionally malnourished. But you've been told that's just life. It's not. It's strategy. Because when you feel powerless, you become predictable, controllable, profitable. But when you begin to remember that your pain is shared, you become dangerous. Not to others, but to the machine. Coming up next. In the next part, we shift from exposure to recovery. We ask the question, if loneliness is designed, monetized, and weaponized, how do we reclaim what's real? Let's talk about what we've forgotten to build. True, offline, unmonetized connection. Let's talk about reclaiming real connection. What we've forgotten to build. Reclaiming real connection. What we've forgotten to build. You were never meant to live like this. Alone in a room full of noise. Connected to thousands, yet close to no one. Scrolling through lives that aren't yours. Chasing comfort that never lasts. You were built for more than notifications. More than branding yourself into worthiness.
more than being a product in someone else's machine. You were built for belonging. And though the world taught you to isolate, though it sold you hyper-independence, though it monetized your longing, somewhere deep inside, your soul still remembers what real connection feels like. The warmth, the presence, the being known without performance. It's not gone. It's just been buried beneath noise. And now you begin the slow, radical act of rebuilding it. Connection is not a feature. It's a human need. Forget what the platforms told you. Connection is not an add-on. It's not a nice-to-have. It's essential. Just like food, just like water, just like air. Without it, you starve. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually. No number of followers can replace eye contact. No emoji can replace a hand on your shoulder. No comment thread can replace a quiet, "Hey, I'm here." And no, it's not always easy to rebuild, but nothing sacred ever is. Start where you are. You don't need to start a movement. You don't need to join a cause. You don't need a viral video to find your people. You just need to begin, human again. Call the friend you haven't talked to in months. Sit on a park bench instead of your phone. Look a cashier in the eyes and say, "How's your day?" Cook a meal and invite someone to share it. Tell the truth when someone asks, "Are you okay?" Connection isn't built in big gestures. It's built in small, consistent moments of presence. It doesn't require perfection. It requires risk. The risk of being seen. The risk of not being in control. The risk of letting someone in. But the reward is everything the machine could never offer. Reclaim spaces that weren't designed for profit. The system gave you places to spend, but it took away places to stay. It gave you coffee shops, but not community centers. It gave you co-working spaces, but not village tables. It gave you virtual connection, but not vulnerable connection. Now you reclaim the forgotten, the third spaces, the living rooms, the walking paths, the old benches where conversation once happened. You don't need permission to rebuild them. You just need to show up and stay. Not to impress, not to monetize, not to record, but just to be human with another human. Relationships before revenue. You've been conditioned to see relationships as transactional. What do they offer me? Will they help my career? Do they match my energy? But real connection has nothing to do with ROI. It's built on these quiet things: shared laughter, mutual struggle, presence without productivity, care without conditions. It's messy, imperfect, unbranded, and real, which is why it's so rare and so worth rediscovering. Let go of the performance. To truly connect, you must stop performing. Stop curating your feelings. Stop editing your vulnerability. Stop believing you need to be healed before you're worthy of love. Connection starts where the mask ends. Not when you impress someone, but when you let them see the parts of you that are still healing. And when they stay, not because you're strong, but because you're honest, you'll remember you were never unlovable, just unseen. You are not alone in your loneliness. Here's the most powerful truth of all. Everyone feels it. Everyone craves more depth. Everyone scrolls and silently hopes for something deeper. Everyone wonders, is it just me? It's not. Your loneliness is not a personal flaw. It's a shared signal, a spiritual wake-up call. And when you begin to reconnect, even imperfectly, you help others remember how to reconnect too. Your healing becomes invitation. Your truth becomes permission. Your presence becomes possibility. Reconnection is rebellion. In a world that profits from your disconnection, reconnection is an act of revolution. When you choose presence over productivity, stillness over stimulation, depth over distraction, people over performance, you break the cycle. You become a human again, not a product, not a data point, not a lonely shopper trying to self-soothe, just a soul, looking into another soul and saying, I see you. That's where the healing begins, not in content, not in consumption, but in courageous connection. Coming up next, in the final part, we close this journey. We bring it all together, the pain, the system, the manipulation, the awakening, and we leave you with a truth the world tried to bury. You are not broken. The system is working against your soul. But now you see it, and you can choose something different. Let's close with, you are not broken, the system is working against you.
You are not broken. The system is working against you. You thought you were the problem. Too sensitive, too needy, too disconnected, too behind. You blamed yourself for feeling lonely, for craving connection, for not being strong enough to be happy on your own. But now you see the truth. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not failing. You are responding naturally to an unnatural world. A world that was designed quietly, strategically, to pull you apart from your people, from your place, from your purpose, from your own humanity. And now that you see it, you can stop blaming yourself for what the system wanted you to feel. Because your loneliness isn't a flaw, it's a signal that your soul still remembers something real. A signal that says, I was meant for more than this. The design is working, but you don't have to obey it. Everything around you has been engineered to keep you quiet, consuming, scrolling, alone. The digital noise, the endless ads, the glorification of self-reliance, the erasure of community, the illusion of healing through purchases. This is not chaos, it's profit, it's control, and it works perfectly until someone wakes up. Until someone asks, wait, who benefits from my disconnection? And once you ask that, everything changes. You're not alone in this realization. Millions of people are waking up, realizing that the ache they've carried isn't failure, it's evidence. Evidence that they were built for something deeper. Evidence that the system isn't delivering what the soul needs. Evidence that in all this progress, we've lost the most primitive, most sacred part of being human. Each other. You're not the only one who feels this way, but you might be the first in your circle to say it out loud. And that courage, that honesty, it's contagious. You don't need to burn it all down, just turn around. The revolution doesn't start with anger, it starts with reconnection, with one person choosing eye contact over likes, with one person putting down the phone and picking up the phone to call, with one person showing up not to impress, but to be present. You don't need to escape the world, you need to rebuild it from within. And you start with your next moment, your next choice, your next conversation. Because every time you choose connection over consumption, you reclaim a part of yourself that was never for sale. The machine can't monetize what you give freely. Love, presence, loyalty, kindness, witness, laughter, stillness. None of it can be bought, which means none of it can be stolen unless you forget it was yours to begin with. This is your power, not to destroy the system, but to become immune to it, to see the trap and walk around it together. The final truth. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not too much. You are not too late. You are a human being in a system designed to make you feel like a machine. But machines don't cry. Machines don't long. Machines don't ache for connection. You do. And that ache, that's your soul saying, I remember what it felt like to belong. I remember being held. I remember being real. And I want that back. So go, reclaim it. Not alone, but together. Because connection isn't gone. It's just waiting. Final words to the listener. If this video made you feel seen, if it reminded you of something real, then share it. Not just online, but in life. Send it to someone who feels like they're the only one. Watch it again when you start to blame yourself. Come back to these truths when the noise gets loud. Because healing begins when one voice says the thing no one else will. You're not broken. You're just waking up, and I see you.